Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I already talked about this in my Fairy Loot unboxing, but this is my Valaris mug. I love how shimmery and shiny and iridescent it is. So today's video is going to be my July TBR. Now be forewarned, I have some chunky books on this TBR, so it may be a little shorter than usual, but it will be exciting nonetheless. So first things first, I want to show you my sweatshirt because it's fantastic. It is from, well, it's not from Spider-Man No Way Home, but basically it's the 3 different Spider-Man all on one sweatshirt embroidered. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I was trying to get it when it was restocking, and if I hadn't gotten it, I probably would have cried because Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time, and I love this so much. It's by Sage and Sprout. I would highly recommend you check out her shop. She posts on Instagram a lot, and she's really fun and is doing such good work. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and check her out. Yeah, so without further ado, let's just get into all the books that I'm planning on reading in July. So the first one I'm going to talk about today is Blood Traitor by Lynette Noni. This is the last book in the Prison Healer trilogy, and it just came out in June, and I really wanted to read it, but I couldn't read it because I had another TBR for June and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I really want to read it, and I already downloaded the audiobook so that I can get to it as soon as possible. I am very excited to see how this trilogy wraps up, especially considering the cliffhangers of the second book. I just need resolution ASAP. And obviously I can't really tell you the plot about this one if you haven't read the others, but the Prison Healer series, if you haven't heard of it, is basically following a girl who is the prison healer. She is sent to a death prison when she was a child. She was sent there with her father, and her father passed away while she was there, and she took his job as being the prison healer, which basically just means she is the resident doctor in the prison. And it's a horrible, brutal place to be in. You can't escape. But her family are rebels, and the rebel queen is sent into Zalendov, the prison, and she is sent with a note that is encrypted, that only she can read it. And it says, "Keep her alive, we are coming." And so the queen was sentenced to trials by ordeal, which is these 4 elemental trials that no one ever survives. And this character takes her place in those trials, and if she wins, she gets her freedom. And it's been a really good trilogy. I've been really impressed with it, and I'm excited to see it wrap up. A little nervous because when you like a series and you feel like it's going so well, you want the ending to match up to your expectations, so hopefully it does, but I'm very excited to wrap that up soon. And the next book that I would love to read in July is Nettle Bone by T. Kingfisher. This has been on my TBR for a while, and I pre-ordered it months and months and months ago because I read the synopsis and it sounded absolutely hilarious. And so I really, really need to get to this, and so I decided to just go ahead and put it on my TBR for July so that I will get it done because it's not very long. It's a pretty short book. It's only a little over 300 pages, so as far as books go, that's not very long, and I really like the UK cover. I think it's really cool. But yeah, I really want to read this. It sounds really funny, and I just kind of want to pick me up in the midst of all these other really heavy dark reads I'm gonna have. So I'd really like to get to this. From what I know about it, it's following 2 sisters. One of them is married to a horrible, abusive prince, and the sister wants to save her from this situation and bring down the prince. And she's seeking out ways to do this, and she comes across a grave witch, and the grave witch tells her that she will give her what she needs to defeat the prince if she completes these seemingly impossible tasks. And so she teams up with this ragtag team of people, including the grave witch and a demon-possessed chicken, to complete these tasks to take down the prince, and it just sounds hilarious. Literally, I read Demon-Possessed Chicken and was like, I have to read this book. I know nothing else about it at that point, but I have to read it, and I've heard good things about it so far, so I'm very excited to get into it. The next one that I'm planning on reading that I also downloaded the audiobook for is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. I think it's Miro. I don't know if it's Miro or Miro, but Miro. And this is a historical fantasy, which is interesting, and it's set in Victorian England. And the premise is there's these 2 children with these mysterious powers that are being hunted by a figure of darkness, a man made of smoke, which already sounds amazing just from that premise. And I believe one of them can heal and one of them glows and can either mend or melt flesh, which is horrifying. So they're on the run, they're trying to escape, and a detective is assigned to them to get them to safety, to get them to the Talents, which is this institute for children like them with these mysterious powers. And yeah, so they're on the run, I guess we're part of it. They get to this institute, and then there's probably like dark academia, creepy secret type stuff that comes out. So it sounds really good. I hope I really like it. It's one of those things that could go either way, but it sounds like it would be up my alley and kind of my thing, so I'm excited to give it a shot. The next book that I'm absolutely dying to read after I learned about it and learned the premise of it, so I wanted to put it on my TBR as soon as possible, is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio. And this is a space opera, and I think there's a little bit of like fantasy elements as well. First off, the cover, stunning. This just sounds absolutely amazing and something I would really love. This is book 1 in the Sun Eater series, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book. I think this is Christopher Rocchio's first works. I don't think he has any other books except for the Sun Eater series, which there's 5 books in total, I believe. And the 5th one's coming out this year if it's not already out now. I could give you like a big synopsis thing and all of that, but I'm not going to, because what got me to read this book and what got me insanely interested in this book is that the author pitches this as what if Anakin Skywalker becoming Darth Vader was the right choice. That's literally all I needed to be immediately obsessed with this book. That's all I needed. I haven't read it and I'm obsessed. So you know going into it that it's a villain origin story and that the main character is going to go dark, which is just so great. I love those stories. I love them so much. And I believe it's also coming from his perspective. So like all of this has already happened and he's going back and like telling the story. So I can't wait to get into this. I really hope I love it. If I don't, I will be so disappointed, but I don't know how I would not love this based on that premise, because Anakin and Vader are like my favorite characters in Star Wars and some of my favorite characters ever. So I cannot wait to read this and tell you guys my thoughts on it. The next book that I'm planning on reading, and it's actually more of I'm planning on finishing it because I had started it, put it down, started it, put it down, and now I want to get it done, is Master Artificer by Justin T. Call. And let me clarify that I just kept putting it down because I kept running out of time during the months where it was on my TBR, but that's not gonna happen this time because today is July 1st and I've already started reading it again, and I'm this close. You can't tell. I'm this close to the end. I'm so close. I'm almost 100 pages from the end. I can do this month. I love the covers on these books so much. They always distract me because they're so shiny and beautiful. But yeah, so this is a high fantasy series. I don't remember how many books are projected to be in this series, but the second one is all that's out right now and he's currently working on the 3rd, and I believe he's trying to get it published next year. But anyway, this is book 2, and this is also a villain origin story, because if you tell me a book or a series is a villain origin story, I will read it. It doesn't matter if I'm actually interested in the premise or not. If it's a fantasy or a sci-fi or a space opera and it's a villain origin story, I will read it. You just gotta pitch it to me like that. So I'm almost done with this book and I'm liking it so far. And if you don't know what it is, the first book is Master of Sorrows, and you are following Inev, who has a physical disability and he goes through a lot of trauma and things, and there's a lot of religion based on magic. He's been told that magic is evil, but he has to have magic to kind of assist in his disability, and he doesn't understand why this is wrong. And it takes you through his journey of kind of figuring out what does he actually believe, what is truth, what is not, what is misguided, does he actually believe what the school has been telling him his whole life? And it just gets into a lot of cool things where people are finding their identities or challenging their beliefs, and it's been really good so far. And you kind of go into it like you don't actually know if Inev is the one that is going to be like the Dark Lord origin. So you go into it like, how is this kid going to be the Dark Lord? Is he the Dark Lord? Is it another character? You don't know. You're assuming it's Inev. I'm assuming it's Inev. But you don't really know. And so this is the second book in that series. Obviously, I can't tell you what this one is about, but I am almost done with this and I can't wait to finish it because it's chonky. And so I'm just trying to get through it. It's good. It's just long. And this one's chonky. Ordinary Monsters is pretty chonky, and Empire Silence also is. So I'm just got a lot of ambition this month. And the last book that I would like to read in July to throw in some humor and lightheartedness is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. I wanted to read this book months ago because it sounds absolutely hilarious, and I thought I would just throw it into this TBR because it was very dark and brooding and grim, which I like, but I figured I needed something like this too. And I'll just read you this like little thing on the back, but basically this is like Victorian England meets steampunk, meets kind of fantasy, meets ridiculousness, meets humor. There's pirates. Like, it just sounds hilarious and ridiculous and great. And the little thing on the back says, a prim and proper lady thief must save her aunt from a crazed pirate and his dangerously charming henchman in this fantastical historical romance. So it's like a fantasy historical romance with steampunk and humor. and it just sounds hilarious. I feel like this is one of those things where you either love this or you hate it, but I think I will like it. I think I will have a good time with it, and I can't wait to pick this up. So that is all the books that I'm trying to read in July. There's only 6 of them, but that's also because a lot of them are chunky, and so I just kind of want to give myself some breathing room. But I do have a lot of them on audiobook, which will be helpful. I would love to hear the books that you guys are planning on reading in July. If you want to leave them in comments down below, maybe give me some recommendations. But that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.